Bonjour S1. This is your work for the week beginning the 25th of January, and today we're starting a new topic, which is learning to talk about sports and hobbies, or what you do in your free time. Les passe-temps is the word for pastimes or free time in French. So we're going to be learning about things that you do when you're not working or not in school. Okay. I want to make you aware that this ties in well with our work as a rights respecting school, and it relates in particular to Article 31, which is on your slide there, which says every child has a right to relax, play and take part in a wide range of cultural and artistic activities. So that's something that you have a right to as a child, and it's something that we're going to talk about in French this week. Okay, for your first task, I want you to read the short passage which tells you about a popular sport in France. If you've ever been to France, you will see people playing this in the parks all around any town or city. Okay, it's really, really popular. Some of you might even have a set of this game that you play in the summertime here. Okay, so to get organised for vocabulary for this topic, a lot of our work is going to centre around two main verbs, the verbs jouer and the verb faire, which you use to describe quite a lot of activities that you might do in your free time. So what I'd like you to do for this task is, in your blue jotter, it might be an idea to turn your page sideways, and in the middle, if you do a sort of big bubble, not too big so you've got room round the sides to write other things, but in the centre, if you write je joue, which means I play, and then you're going to need space all around to add in some activities. Now at the moment on this slide there are activities pictured, but on the next few slides you're going to see the activities in French that I want you to put around your mind map that you're making with this bubble in the centre. And this is going to focus on all the activities that would start with je joue, which means I play. Okay, so now you should have your bubble in the middle of your vocab jotter ready to add your activities around, okay? And these are the activities that I want you to put all around. Now they all start with je joue, but because you've got that in the bubble in the middle, you don't need to write that each time, but it is important that you write the O before the sport, okay? And the good news here is you'll see that lots of the sports are almost identical to what we call them in English, so it's not going to be too tricky for you to learn these words off by heart, okay? So you've got au basket, which means basketball, au ping pong, table tennis, au tennis, tennis, au football, which sometimes they shorten to au foot, for football, au badminton, for badminton, au rugby, rugby, au hockey. Okay, remember they're not really pronouncing the H in French, for hockey, au snooker, for snooker, au volley, volleyball, and au golf, for golf. Okay, so nothing too tricky there, but I'd like you to add them all around your mind map. If you want to make it look pretty, you can add in some little illustrations or use different colours or whatever, but the main thing is that you get the vocabulary there and you're sure that you know what everything means. So this slide just gives you a summary of the vocabulary that we've seen so far. You don't have to copy all of this down because you should have it on your mind map, but I have included a link to Quizlet that has some activities that would help you practice these and a couple of other terms as well. Okay, the only thing that you might want to add into your blue jotter is the bit right at the top that's got the question, tu joues au rugby? Do you play rugby? And then either oui, je joue au rugby, or non, je ne joue pas au rugby. Okay, obviously you could change the end to any of the activities you saw on the slide before or down below. Okay, so tu joues au tennis would be do you play tennis, and so on. Okay. So here I just want to draw your attention to how you could start building up a sentence using these kinds of phrases, okay? So the first bit's got je joue au, and then it's got a whole list of activities like we saw on the slides before. Okay, je joue au basket, je joue au billard, je joue au football, and so on. And then in the right hand column it's got things like sur la oui, avec mes amis, avec mes copains, avec mes copines. So sur la Wii would mean on the Wii, but obviously you could change that to any kind of console. Avec mes amis means with my friends. You would add in the E that's in the brackets if it was all female friends. If it was all males or a mixed group, you use ami without the E. And then you've got mes copains, mes copines, which are other words that just mean my friends as well. Mes copains, the first one, is for male friends or a mixed group, and mes copines when it's all girls together. Okay? So you've got a list that's got je joue au and lots of activities, and then underneath you've got à la pétanque and aux boules, which are the ways that you talk about the sport that was mentioned on your very first slide of this. Okay, so I just wanted to draw your attention to this, but you don't need to do anything with this information at the moment. Okay, this slide is going to be done in your grammar jotter, so in your blue jotter at the back, and it's a note about how we use the verb jouer. Now in English, if we say I play tennis, we just say I play and then add on the sport. But in French, you need a little word in between. The only way I can think to explain that is you could almost say I play at tennis or I play at football. Okay, that's kind of what the expression sounds like in French, although we don't tend to say that in English. Okay, but you do need this word à in between. So jouer à is used to talk about playing a sport or a game. Now the à changes depending on whether the word is masculine, feminine, plural, or if you have a word that begins with a vowel or a noun. So what I've given you on this slide are the four versions: au, à la, à l with apostrophe, aux. Now what I'd like you to do is to copy down the note and those four versions, and I'd like you to see if you can fill in for yourself which one you think goes with which. Okay, so one of them is going to be for a plural, one of them is going to be for feminine, one's for masculine, and one's for a vowel or an H. Now you've done some work on this kind of thing before when we've been talking about how you say some and how you say the. You know that there's four different versions. So using your knowledge from those grammar points, see if you can apply that to this situation here. Okay, I think most of you will manage to do that quite successfully. Task 6 is a listening task. You have 3 people here telling you about what they do in their free time. There are 6 gaps, and then on the right hand side you'll see there are 6 French words. What you're going to do is you're going to listen to me reading through what the people say, including the missing words, and what you need to do is note down in your jotter what the missing words were. Okay, so if you get your exercise jotter ready, write the numbers 1 to 6 with the heading task 6, and then you listen through. I'll say each little passage twice through, and all that you need to do is beside the numbers write down the French word from the right hand side that was missing. Okay, so we'll start with the Raphaël. Je suis très sportif. Je joue au rugby, je joue au basket et je joue au tennis sur la Wii. De temps en temps, je joue aussi au foot. J'adore le sport. Je suis très sportif. Je joue au rugby, je joue au basket et je joue au tennis sur la Wii. De temps en temps, je joue aussi au foot. J'adore le sport. Zara. Je suis assez sportive. Je joue au hockey et je joue au volleyball. Je joue aussi au tennis de table sur la Wii. Le ping-pong, c'est génial. Je suis assez sportive. Je joue au hockey et je joue au volleyball. Je joue aussi au tennis de table sur la Wii. Le ping-pong, c'est génial. And lastly, we'll look at Karine. Je ne suis pas très sportive, mais je joue au billard. Quelquefois, je joue aux boules ou à la pétanque avec mes copains. Je ne suis pas très sportif, mais je joue au billard. Quelquefois, je joue aux boules ou à la pétanque avec mes copains. So task 7 will also be done in your cahier rouge, in your exercise jotter. So write the heading task 7. You've got 4 little passages to read here. The questions for these are on the next slide though. Okay, there are 4 people talking about who their favourite sports personalities are. Okay, sometimes they're talking about males, sometimes they're talking about females, or in one of them they're talking about 2 different people. So you'll notice in the first one it says mon sportif préféré, whereas in the second one it says ma sportive préférée. So notice the differences when you're talking about a man or a lady. And then in the fourth one it talks about mes sportifs préférés when you get into the second sentence. And so that's talking about 2 different people. Okay, so there's going to be questions on the next slide that relate to these 4 passages. Okay, so as I said, these 6 questions apply to the slide before, and the question for them all is who, so it's going to be a name each time. Now remember they're talking about their favourite sports personalities, so the name's going to be in capitals and it's going to be the name of a famous sports star. Okay, so in order to do this you want to look for some keywords. So who is a football player and comes from France, so the key information is football and France, so look for those words in the passages on the other page. Okay, again in number 2, okay, it mentions France again, but it also mentions Americans. See if you can see that. Belgian is a keyword, okay, in number 3. So try to use your skills to try and pick out the bit that's important, because you might not understand every word on the previous slide, but you're just trying to look for clues to point you in the right direction to get the right information. Okay, good luck, I hope it goes well, and that's you for today.